Welcome to What Self-Care Looks Like. I'm your host, Brittany Elliott. It may be hard to hear, but self-care is not spa days, a weekend getaway, or brunch with your bestie. True self-care is the practice of protecting your well-being and happiness, and it lives within your daily routine. I'm a self-care and mom life coach here to help you prioritize your needs and practice self-care in a meaningful way so you can reclaim joy in your motherhood experience. Let's get back to you. Hey, and welcome back to What Self-Care Looks Like. My name is Brittany Elliott. I am the author of the book What Self-Care Looks Like, the host of this podcast, and my mission is to help women rediscover their identity and reclaim joy in the motherhood experience. Today, we're jumping into chapter 3 of the book What Self-Care Looks Like, which is about expectations versus reality. If you are new here, welcome. If you've listened to the podcast before, welcome back. As a reminder or a special note, I'm not going to be reading each chapter of the book. I'm just going to take a deeper dive into some of the concepts that I work through in the book. This one specifically being about your expectations of the motherhood experience or what the motherhood experience would be like versus how it truly is. And this shows up in a variety of different ways. It could be your expectations about your village or who you expected to be there to support you through your motherhood journey. It could have been your expectations of your spouse or partner to stay with you and be supportive through the experience, but now perhaps you're a single mother or you're in a relationship, but your partner just doesn't pull their weight. It could be that you are a working mom, but you really wanted to be a stay-at-home mom and you can't make that line up, or vice versa. You're a stay-at-home mom and you really like to get back into the workforce and you feel like you're stuck and you can't get back in. And it could also just be simply you thought you would be just head over heels for your child and so excited that you're a mother, and really you just find the whole thing exhausting and draining, and you feel that while you love your child, of course, you really don't enjoy the motherhood experience. and you don't feel like you, and you feel like you have lost so much of you in the process that it's very hard for you to see the joy. So, and the analogy that I talk about in the book is, have you ever read a book that had been made into a movie, and then you go to watch the movie, and the movie is slightly disappointing? You don't like the way they cast it, you don't like the creative liberties they took, you feel just that the book was better and no one should have ever touched it if they were going to make a movie that was so far out of alignment with how the book that you enjoyed was. The book in this analogy is your expectations. You had expectations of what motherhood would be like, probably from when you were younger, when you were a young child, just dreaming of what things would be like when you would be a mother. I mean, now my daughter is 7, but there are some times when she'll tell me the things that she's going to do when she becomes a mom. So she's already thinking of things, has some ideas. And so depending on how strongly you have held on to those ideas, those could be your entire framework for how you expect your motherhood experience to be. And then it turns out here we are, and your experience may be nothing like that at all. You may be encountering some challenges that you never thought you would encounter and navigating those along the way. I have a friend of mine, she got pregnant not long after I had my daughter. And at one of her genetic appointments, it was determined that her child would most likely be born with Down syndrome. And so there are a lot of things that, there are a lot of things that doctors sit down with you and talk to you about if that is your situation. I ended up recommending my OB to her, the woman who delivered my daughter, because I just felt like her mindset was more in alignment with my friend's mindset. And I just said, even if you don't choose her to be your person, I think having this conversation with her will be helpful. And her child, he was born with Down syndrome. He does have Down syndrome, which was something that, she felt very much, prepared for that part of it. And then not very long after he was born, I think maybe right away, a couple days after, he had to have open heart surgery, which was not what she expected. And then she had to navigate that. So you may be thinking you're going into it and you're going to have a completely healthy child, and then your child comes out, you have some complications, or you think you're going to deliver naturally and you can't. Now you have to get a C-section. And there's so many things that we wrap into how we want it to look, and that latches back onto our need for control. And you're not really in control right now. And I think that's a tough reality to hold on to as well. So I will say that my expectations once I became pregnant were, I'm going to take care of my body. I am going to eat as well as I can. I am going to assume that this is going to be the most difficult thing I've ever gone through in my life. I am going to assume that the people who are saying they're going to be here and be available are just not going to be available. And that's what I thought. I just kind of just assumed, worst case scenario. And it ended up not being like that in some circumstances. And the other parts, the things that I thought were going to be really hard, were hard. And then there were some things that I just did not even have on my bingo card, one of which was just completely losing myself in the process. So wherever you are in your motherhood journey, you have some expectations about it, and you need to right size that with the reality of your situation. So instead of holding on to what you hoped motherhood would be like, what you expected it to be like, you need to come to terms with what things are. You need to meet yourself where you are now, and then just create a plan to get to the place you want to be. Otherwise, you're kind of in limbo. You are not fully present in what's happening now because you're carrying a little bit of resentment for, I'll use the example of your village. The people who said we're going to be there for you are not for you, there for you in the way that you wanted them to be, and not in the way that they said that they would be. So you're in limbo. You don't want to accept that because you had an expectation for them. They've disappointed you and you're resentful for that. You also can't move forward to something better because you're sitting in the middle of that resentment and isolation and not being able to pivot to create like a new village and to actually shape what a village looks like for you. That part you can control. You can control how you are reacting to things. You can control how long you sit in these resentful feelings or these feelings of overwhelm and things like that. Hey, it's Brittany here, your host of the show, and I'd like to invite you to grab your copy of my book, What Self-Care Looks Like. It's the roadmap for working moms who want to prioritize their self-care and rediscover the joy in their motherhood experience. It's a must-read for any mom who has felt lost, unseen, or unsure along her motherhood journey. Buy it today at www.whatselfcarelooks.like.com. You need to be showing up your best self. And to do that, you need to be growing and really improving yourself. So before in the past, my best self, the best that I had to offer, maybe wasn't great, but it was the best that I had. And now that I've healed and I've evolved, I'm just all the better for it all around. So in terms of you navigating your expectations versus your reality, I want you to ask yourself, do you like being a mother? Just flat out. Do you like it? It's not about judging your answer. It's not that there is a right or a wrong answer. The answer is the answer. You need to be able to honestly say whether or not you like it. I'm not asking you if you love your child. I'm not asking you if you like your child. I'm not asking you anything about your kid. I'm asking you, do you like, do you enjoy being a mother? Or you can position it as, what parts of motherhood do you actually enjoy? Because to me, motherhood is a trifecta. It is a relationship, it's a role, it's a responsibility. The relationship is the dynamic between you and your child. Most women, we're good with that. We're good. We love our child. Our child is great. We love the cuddles and the snuggles and all of that stuff. Great. Awesome. The role is a lot of times those external expectations that come with being a mother. It's the societal pressures that come with it. It's how everyone else sees you now that you're a mother and what they put on you because you are a mother. This is how you should act. It's almost like if mother had a job description, that's where all those things would live, inside the role part of the trifecta. And then the responsibility is all the tasks and duties that come with parenting. It's the discipline, the nurturing, it's all the doing, like bedtime routine, potty training, clothing your child. This morning I was actually getting my daughter ready for school, and I went upstairs. She had brushed her teeth, and I went upstairs. She had gotten dressed, but she picked something that she couldn't wear, like for gym class. And I said, "Oh, why didn't you pick the outfit that I had on top?" Because I don't know if you know about those little like hanger things. They're like space savers, and you can hang like multiple clothes on it. They're like, if you're watching, I'm like using my hands to show the shape, but they condense so that you can hang more clothes in your closet. I hang one of those um, on the back of her bedroom door because it can hold 5 outfits very nicely, and she goes to school, 5 days a week, and it hangs there. And I try to put it in order based off of whatever resources she has at school, music, health, art, gym. She usually can't wear like a dress or a skirt, so I always try to put something like more athleisure wear there. Well, she picked her um the outfit behind it, basically, because she wanted to wear it. It was cuter. It was like a little skirt. And I told her, "Oh, you can't wear that. You have gym today. I don't think they're going to let you do gym today in that. So just let's wear these shorts instead." Um, and so that's like part of the doing, and having a conversation with her, and then hoping that she didn't have a fit about it because she really wanted to do what she wanted to do. The responsibility. Oh yeah, so that is the responsibility. Um, I feel like that's the only one of those pillars that can truly be shared with other people. The responsibility can be shared amongst your village if you have one, which I hope you do. And if you don't have the one you expected, I hope you're using the one that you're creating. Just recently, I had come back in town from a conference, and I had set up with my neighbor to be able to keep my daughter during the gap of me being not sure if I would get home by the time my husband left for work. And I'm not going to leave my daughter sitting by herself. So I had set up time for her to hang out with the neighbor. I ended up getting home early and plenty of time, but my neighbor had taken the time out of her day to like create activities for them to hang out and do things together. So I said, well, if you don't mind, if you're cool with her still coming over, that would actually be great for me because I'm overstimulated and peopled out, and I would really like to have the opportunity to just unwind and have some quiet time. So, she went over there and she did dinner over there and hung out over there, and I knew that she was in trusted hands so that I could relax and rest and refresh. The other things, the role and the relationship, those are things we're managing on our own. So really sit with that question. How do you feel about motherhood? What do you enjoy about motherhood? And don't try to shy away from any negative feelings. If you're like, yeah, I love my child and I hate this, like motherhood is ghetto, it's stupid, this is, hard, tough, etc. Sit with that, own that, and then you start asking more questions. How can I feel more fulfilled by this? How can I rediscover my identity so that I reclaim joy in the experience? Hopefully you are learning some strategies through reading the book, going back in some past podcast episodes, and putting into practice some of the strategies that I share. Hopefully you're being open about it with your spouse and the people who are in your circle, the people you trust. So those are the additional tidbits that I wanted to talk about for chapter 3. And I don't think I have anything else special to add. So as always, thank you for being here. I appreciate your time, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening to this episode. I hope you learned at least one thing you can implement into your daily routine. To connect with me, follow at Back to You in 5 on Instagram. If you're feeling generous, share this episode with a mom you know and subscribe to the show. I appreciate your support. Remember, motherhood is a journey, not a destination. Grow through it and enjoy the view.